Hi, Montana. Today was day 18 of the legislature, and it was officially an 11-hour day, so I'm going to pick and choose what I talk about in this video. I could easily make a 30-minute video. This morning in Business and Labor, we heard bills about workplace safety, about horse racing, about the fees on death certificates, and about pharmacies. I'm going to talk about the pharmacies bill. This was a bill basically aimed at helping the small pharmacies who cannot negotiate their drug prices and are losing money on prescriptions because the big companies set the prices and then the pharmacies are obligated to fill those prescriptions even if the amount they're getting reimbursed by insurance is far under what they're paying for the medicine itself. So a lobbyist in committee who works for a company, Express Scripts, came up to the microphone and said that they work under a very small profit margin. But the CEO of that company received a $3 million bonus last year, bringing his annual salary up to nearly $15 million. And so here you have a paid lobbyist who's saying we couldn't possibly afford to help these pharmacies get better drug prices because we are operating under such a small profit margin, when his employer, who's paying him to say that, got a $3 million bonus last year. This bill has the potential to help small pharmacies that are the only pharmacy in tiny towns like Boulder, Whitehall, West Yellowstone, Terry, and Libby. And it'll be interesting to see if we can help those small pharmacies out. On the floor, we saw a bill fail on second reading that is a transparency, that brings some transparency to campaign finance. The opponents to the bill called it nitpicky and unnecessary. I don't think it was a huge, earth-shattering bill, but it's interesting to look at the vote on that. We passed a bill to improve the public employee retirement system. This isn't the big public employee retirement system. This is a much smaller one that covers highway patrol, game wardens, peace officers, and corrections officers. And we were able to pass the bill. These folks risk their lives in many cases for $15 an hour and are already paying more than any other employee out of their own pocket into their retirement account. We were able to get the bill passed, but not until we had amended it to increase the employee portion, which is basically a punishment to the employee. So bad amendment, good bill, still got it out. It's interesting to me when we talk about these bills that you'll hear members of the majority stand up and say, these guys in the private sector don't get this retirement, so why should anybody else? And my philosophy just is the total opposite. I believe that we as a nation should be lifting everybody up instead of cutting everybody down. You cannot cut your way to prosperity, and your budget shows your values. These are our employees, your employees and my employees. And if we value our employees and their families and the work that they do, then we will pay them and we will pay for them to be able to retire. Or at least help them to be able to pay their own retirement. The bill I talked about yesterday that allowed someone to say, oh, I don't belong to a political party, and then just automatically get onto the general election ballot, failed on third reading today. I think maybe the Republicans realized that bill was going to hurt them way more than it was going to hurt us. In education this afternoon, we had an hour-and-a-half long hearing on a bill that is aimed at preventing suicide in the state of Montana. We heard gut-wrenching testimony from a lot of very brave people. The bill does something interesting. It increases the tax on rental cars by 1%. So if you have a $60 rental car bill, you would be paying an extra 60 cents, and takes that money and provides grants to schools to do screenings and work on suicide prevention in really meaningful ways. It's a great idea. It'll be really interesting to see if we can have some bipartisan support to actually make an impact on our suicide rates in Montana. We also had some shenanigans with rules. We passed a bill that funds language immersion programs in elementary schools, and I was sure that that wasn't going to pass. And we also took a bill that had been tabled previously. You heard me talk about the free college tuition bill, and we had tabled it. I was disappointed, as were you, I'm sure. Today, we saw that be successfully taken from the table, which means it's in play again and we get to vote on it again. We amended it to increase the GPA you'd have to qualify, and also to require a minimal amount of community service. And that bill, with those amendments, had bipartisan support to get out of the Education Committee. Really interesting turn of events. I will make sure to keep you updated on the progress of these bills. We did pass the resolution to study special education funding, and I am still continue to be worried that that study bill will be used as an excuse to not actually fund special education. But I'll keep you updated on that and all of the other happenings in the legislature tomorrow. Thanks.